What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 5, Episode 7, and it's called Chapter 83, Fire in the Sky.
Don't forget, guys.
It sounds like an Ariana Grande song.
Don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast. We're going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines of the episode. So be sure to stick around for that.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this episode.
We're back after a 1 week hiatus. What did you think?
It was a good episode. I think that it was kind of a lead up. There's a lot of lead up. A lot of story, a little bit of stirring the pot, creating this visual, the ideas. A lot of elements. I think the one thing that I will say just generally is like, do we think that Riverdale is biting off more than they can chew right now? That's kind of like my
that's your thing. Yeah.
What about you?
And I think you're on the same page with like everyone, because it looked like on Twitter last night, everyone was sort of like, hold on, what's going on? There's way too many storylines. Like, where are we supposed to focus on? And you know me, I'm like all against that shit.
Yeah.
But this time around, I kind of wasn't hating it. I was kind of like, okay. And like you said, like, I feel like it is leading to somewhere where the stories are hopefully going to start to like intersect.
Yeah.
But again, like, it's similar to last season. Like BUGHEAD is very much doing like the killer storyline. And then like Archie and Veronica are like doing the Hiram / saving the town storyline. So it doesn't feel so different. I think where people are getting lost is the whole alien storyline. And I feel like that's taking a lot of space for a lot of fans and being like, okay, what are we bracing ourselves for like what's next?
Absolutely. I think
I'm not hating it just yet, though. I'm not hating it just yet. I'm like giving them like an opportunity to like, let's see more, and then let me like fully
let's understand it a little bit more. I definitely I definitely want to talk about that toward the end of the episode when it gets like pretty thick. It gets pretty cray.
Yeah.
So just to start it off, and I feel like I want to try to do this if I remember every episode, because as we remember, Riverdale episodes are usually named after like movies. So I looked up the movie Fire in the Sky, and it is a 1993 American biopic science fiction mystery film directed by Robert Lieberman and written by Tracy Torme. It is based on Travis Walton's book, The Walton Experience, which describes an extraterrestrial abduction.
Okay, so this is where I have a thing with this. And I agree with you. I think we should start every episode by recapping what the film is about. But I feel like, and then there's so many situations where they just use that title as like some sort of connection. But is it going to really be that Jughead saw an alien? I highly doubt it. Like, I don't think that's actually going to happen. Right. But there's always that sort of connection that, oh, it's like that movie, but then it doesn't end up actually being literally like that movie. So
and I also feel like the title Fire in the Sky also like alludes to like Archie's journey.
The fire.
Fighter. So like, I think it like, they're like, fire in the sky. Oh, perfect.
Use that. That's what I always feel like happens.
Anyway, let's get into the episode. So it starts off with Archie's place. So as you guys remember from 2 weeks ago, his place was on fire. The front and the back was on fire.
Both sides.
So both sides were getting hit. And it shows Jughead kind of narrating it. And luckily, Fred Andrews had fire extinguishers that they used to put out the fires. So this is like the next morning. Everything's fine, but everything's like charred at the front, obviously. And he says that there's an arsonist on the loose. And without firefighters, obviously, Riverdale is kind of in danger of basically catching fire.
Yeah.
So in the middle of all this, Archie is going through his old pictures, which I kind of noted down. And I mean, I actually want to ask you about this because we know that the Ghoulies were like in this house from time.
Yeah.
Like, how did these like long lost
I was just gonna ask you, where did he find that picture? Like, where was it?
He was like in the living room. He's like, I'm just dusting off this old picture.
Why would it be there the whole time? I thought it was like maybe in the closet with like where the extinguisher was.
That would make more sense.
But even to your point, like, wouldn't the Ghoulies just like take everything out? Like, they've been there for 7 years.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I was like, I don't understand how like he's just finding all this stuff suddenly. And so he finds this picture of his grandpa, who was a firefighter, and it was a really funny moment because
I died. I was like, this
goes
is the
up
best.
he goes up to Jughead and he's like, oh, look, I found this picture of my grandpa who was a firefighter.
Grandpa Artie.
Grandpa Artie. And Jughead's like, oh my God, I already know where this is going.
Literally eye rolled. He's like, okay, I know where this is going. I'm like, thank you. That was the best. Yeah, like it was so good. It was really funny.
Yeah. So then Jughead is basically like, you get him, boy. Like, just go.
Just go. He's like, it's okay. Yeah. Just go do it. I know what you're gonna do. Just go do it. Go.
Yeah. So then it comes to the coroner's office, and they have the body. So it's Alice, Kevin, and Betty with the guy, the coroner, and he basically says that it is not the father. It is not Polly. She is. It is not her because he checked it and it was like a body from 3 years ago, so it's like even further back. And the swamp like preserved her body, which is why it's not like completely deteriorated, but they confirmed that it's not Betty. But now, or sorry,
also
Betty,
like shout Polly. Out to the swamp, because like up until last week we didn't even know this swamp existed in Riverdale, and now it's like the talk of the town. Like everyone's like all about it. Reggie like guards it full time as a job. Like where did this swamp come from? Like it didn't even exist
7 years later. Well, I guess it was irrelevant until like now it's going to become a part of Sodale.
Like whatever happened to Sweetwater River? Why don't they just use that? Like why did it become like a swamp? Like
just a new location. So now Betty, realizing that it's not Polly, is like, well, there's a dead body here, so like we have to see the missing records. Like, who is this person? So she does her investigation. That's kind of her trail for the rest of the episode. So then it cuts to Veronica visiting Hiram, and she gets mad at, I think I missed something. Did I miss something? Oh no, I didn't miss something. Because Archie was like, oh, like it was Hiram who did the fire. So obviously he tells Ronnie, he's like, I told Ronnie about it. So she's gonna go see her dad. And so right away she goes in and is like, what the F, Dad? Like why Daddy, did you do that?
How did you burn my boyfriend's house? First of all, I just want to say I missed Hiram and Veronica. I know we've seen them like since, but I really missed their like banter. It was just enough attitude, just enough like evilness. And I was like, I love these two together. Yeah.
I'm so happy you said that, because I was worried. I mean, like we love Hiram. We love the actor, obviously, but at the same time, we love the actor, Mark Consuelos. But at the same time, like I know that there's so much hate for his character online, and I was like, how are they going to bring this guy back but like not make him like the most evil, the most annoying person, hate him. And I just love this new energy between the two of them. They feel like they're kind of like almost more on a level playing field. Like he still sees her as his like little daughter, but like at least she can like,
and he gives her a little bit.
This
is my thing, and this week's episode made me realize that everyone was playing their comic book character. Like I couldn't even be mad at anyone, because I was like, this is what Hiram would be doing. Like he would be showing up at Veronica's like class being like, da 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 da, like I screwed you over, and like she's like, Daddy, bye. And then like Betty's doing, like everyone kind of fulfilled their role like as they would be in the comic book, and I totally loved it. I was like, I'm here for it. Like I'm okay with this. So
they have their little banter back and forth, and she's like, yeah, what the F, Dad? Like, why did you do this? And he basically shits on Riverdale. He's like, Riverdale's disgusting. Like, why are we even doing this? This place is gross. It stinks. Like, whatever. And she's like, well, now it's personal. I'm like, I feel like it was always personal, but okay.
Like, is it always
it's always been personal. Daddy is
the opposite of personal.
Like, because
it's never that.
It's never that one. So then it goes to Pop's Diner, and like that's the thing. It's really cute because at the very end of every single interaction, Hiram has this like smirk on his face as if he's like in trouble, like something's coming, or like he like enjoys that banter with his.
He's like getting attention from her. Which is like, what he's always wanted, anyways.
He's like, I get it. Yeah, exactly. He's loving it. So it cuts to Pop's Diner, and Archie's talking to the old chief because he finds out in that picture he also found the old chief,
that guy,
who was the old one. And he tells him that he wants to restart everything. He wants to get this firefighter thing going. And the chief is like, dude, I'm like 75
Man's
years old.
Like he takes like a leave every day. He's like, I can't put fires out. Like, come on.
What am I gonna do?
It's been 7 years.
He's like, it was fine and all, like hanging out with your grandpa who is dead now. So like clearly I can't do this too. So, like, this is a young man's game. Like, I can't do this. Peace. So he just dips, and Archie again is like stuck, not knowing what to do next. Then it cuts to cheer practice. We get cheer practice like right in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, from the top. Let's do it. Come on, break it down.
From the top, make it drop. So Cheryl comes in during the practice, and obviously there's that.
So extra.
Extra is not even like, I don't even know if that word defines
for
her.
7 years, and now you're like, hello. I'm like, where have you been? Your clothes are probably dusty. Like, who even made that shirt for you?
So like, who printed that HBIC shirt for you? So yeah, she comes in and she's like, the bitch is back in town. This squad is my birthright. Like, I need to take it back. And like, Tony's basically like, yeah, whatever.
She's
whatever.
like, okay, go, come on, dance,
like,
do it.
Dance.
Like, we know you're gonna do this.
Do the damn dance.
She's like, I can't.
Like, so she's like, in the spirit of like whatever of cheer.
Season 1.
I'm gonna season 1.
Hold on, that dance off we saw in season, was it 1 or 2?
1.
Tony wasn't even in there. She wasn't there.
No, so they never, like, she never saw her. She did have a moment where she auditioned, if you remember, when she was first introduced into Riverdale. I think it was season 2 or season 3.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah,
they were basically girlfriends at that point. So she was like,
she was like,
Tony, work. So this time around, she challenges her to a dance off. But she's literally like, girl, I'm pregnant. Like, do you see my stomach? Like, I can't do this. And then one of her, I guess, like her cheerleading students, she's like, I'll be your proxy. I'll do it for you. And so then they commence the dance off.
The dance off begins.
It's like, dun, 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 dun. I can't even. Like,
first of all, I love the music was so good, but I love the editing because it was like all these like whoosh sound effects. It was like whoosh,
the sound effects were killing me. I literally wrote that down. I was like, it's like whoosh, 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 whip. I was like, okay, guys.
And like it was like also, I don't know, was there music? Because all I remember hearing was like their socks making noise and like their shoes were making noise.
I was gonna say, all you hear is like echo, like squeaking.
Yeah, it sounded like it was the practice run and they hadn't run audio yet, and it was just like them, and it was like whoosh, whoosh.
I'm like, these sound effects do not all go together, guys. Like, I don't know what's happening, but someone
like,
didn't.
Why are your shoes making that noise? Are they like wet or something?
Like squeak, while they're like listening to this like hot, like a high. And she's
trying to be like badass, and I can hear like the little foot sounds on their with their socks making on the shoes.
I noticed that.
It was so funny.
Oh my gosh! So
everyone loved Tony's reaction though, because Tony was like, I see that ass like, over there.
Okay, I'm feeling it. Yeah, okay. So it's a tie. They do the whole thing, and so Cheryl doesn't win it. What do you think that she won it? What is your opinion on this? Do you think that she won?
Okay,
that one?
The only reason I think Cheryl won it was because she had the editing team behind her, and she had all those crazy sound effects, and she had the hair flips, and it's like, well, obviously, if you're gonna have slow motion hair flips, you're gonna win the dance off.
Yeah, it's true, and it's funny because, and this is like no shade. I'm not talking about like body image or anything, but like just seeing Cheryl beside this like petite little Filipino girl, like I was just like, you guys don't even match. Like this, she's just like doing her moves.
Yeah,
and then you see this girl being like,
yeah,
and it's like,
but that's what I mean.
Yeah, it just
Cheryl's part is more accentuated because like she obviously is a main lead character.
Yeah.
Plus she's covered in red.
Yeah.
Plus she's got the hair. Plus she's got the slow-mo. Like everything's working for her.
This
poor girl over here, she's got no special effects. She's got no sound effects. She got her socks making that noise.
100%. So anyway, yeah. So they decide that they're going to share control of the Vixens. That was like the final.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to
you mentioned this later on in your notes, but like just really quickly here, like I want to say it because Tony does mention it. She's like, where did you come from though? Like you're coming out of nowhere and you expect all of this. Like it's not just yours to take. Like you've been MIA for this whole time.
And this is the thing that you like. Yeah, like this is the thing you're coming back to Riverdale for. The Vixens, really?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So then it cuts to Veronica and Archie talking at school. And Veronica says that he denies any involvement of the fire. He's like, I didn't do it. It's not me. And Archie's bummed about the firefighter stuff. He can't get this chief together. And Veronica says that Jorge, one of her friends from New
this
York
was so
City,
like
was like, and it's his
they're
ex-boyfriend.
they're literally calling to Katie Keene, but not bringing any of the Katie Keene players
Like
into Riverdale.
the main
it's like the
people
friend
back.
of Katie Keene's people.
Yeah, basically.
Like, okay, no one cares.
Like, I mean, I'm sure people who love the show or were like, yeah, it's George.
Are they,
but like
though?
George doesn't even show up. So
But that's what I mean. Like, at least bring him to be like, this is my cousin. Like, he's this, that, whatever.
yeah,
They're doing like a half-ass crossover, and I'm not mad at it because we know what Bernardo looks like. So I wasn't mad at it, but you know, I'm not gonna be mad at that.
I'm gonna be mad at that one. I'm like, I'm okay with that one coming through. That's okay with me.
He should just stay in Riverdale.
I know, what the hell. So so his name's Bernardo. He's a New York firefighter, and shout out to Katie Keene, R.I.P.
Also, if you live in Toronto, like the name Bernardo is never sexy to anyone, because if you know, there's a really big murder case that happened here.
It's like,
but on a side note, he looked really good.
Oh my god, yeah, he made a
fire shirt.
And so and then on top of that, not only is she gonna help Archie with his thing, she's like, I have an idea to fix the economy.
Dude, Veronica is working OT, creating money.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about this. So she goes to her economy class, to her students, to her children's students, and she's like, we are going to fix the economy in Riverdale.
Do you know how we're gonna do this?
Yeah. We're going to.
Have you played Monopoly?
That's literally it.
I thought she was literally going to take the Monopoly money to be like, let's use this. No, let's go away and make her own money with actual dye.
Yeah. She like did everything.
Her kids, her fingers were like covered in color.
Yeah. So first she starts by saying she's gonna revamp this old movie store for credit, like everyone who's gonna be involved. They're all like, yes, I'll do it with you. So then anyway, so we'll cut to that. Don't worry. It'll cut. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Jughead comes in with a couple of articles actually, about the Mothman, and gives them to Tabitha, and she's like, I don't know, maybe they like lied about it though. Like, who knows if they lied about it back then, because he's just trying to like cross-reference the story that he found out about this guy in the woods. And he's like, well, one of the witnesses, you might know them. Can you get an interview for me? Wink, wink. It might be her grandpa. So obviously it's her grandpa. So she's like, oh my God, I got to get it back. So anyway, then it cuts to Archie, and he sees his old army buddy roll up on his house
with his full-out gun,
like full-out gun rifle, just like hold on to it.
Like, you don't leave the army and come back with a gun. Like, that belongs to the army, I think.
I mean,
unless he owned his own gun.
Yeah, it's his. He's like, I need a gun now.
Yeah.
His name is it Eric?
Eric.
Is it Eric Jackson, and he calls him Jackson throughout the episode. But one of the things that I called out to in this particular part, because he just like kind of sees him like as he's leaving the house because he's gonna go to the White Worm. And he goes, oh hey, like what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, I was just trying to like, you know, I'm in transition to like get this like housing for like transitioning back into society. And Archie's like, you don't need that though, right? I'm like, how do you know? Like, how do you know what he needs?
Yeah.
And he kind of annoyed me when he made that comment, because like Jackson's like, it's not that easy for everybody to just like
but you know what, I think that's a real reaction. I'm sure a lot of like, especially more maybe men would have that reaction to be like, why do you need that? Like, you're fine, like just suck it up. And he was like, no, like he's like, I'm not okay. And I think they needed that dialogue to
that quick dialogue to be like, yo, you ignorant, you don't know what the hell. But like, that's the thing, like you'd think that
Archie ignorant? No. Archie oblivious? Really?
No way.
Not Archie Andrews.
So then it cuts back to the coroner's office, and it's not. So it turns
Dr.
out
Curdle got some airtime today. Like tonight.
He got the time of times. Like, yeah, he got it in for sure. So it turns out it's not her. It's not Polly.
Not Polly.
Betty thinks it's this girl named Margaret, but he's like, no. Margaret had
It's not
braces,
Margaret either.
So it's not Margaret either. So it's like a next girl who is now dead. So so she's like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to like figure this out now. So then it cuts back to the White Worm, and everybody meets Jackson. So by everybody I mean like Kevin, Fangs,
the guys,
the boys.
Yeah.
And Archie's just talking about this firefighting thing. He's like, I just want to start this up. Like, would you guys be interested in helping volunteer and like start fires and like jump into fire whenever like you need to? And they're all like, bro, like, I don't even know anything about fire. Like, thank you, but like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And they do have a moment where Jackson and him kind of look at each other and he's like, civilians, like they don't get it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I guess that is how it feels like when you come back from the army.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone's just like, I'm fine. They're like, you don't even know. Like, you don't even know. So then it cuts to Betty talking to Margaret's mom, and she's just trying to understand like if she has any information where she like where she can get more information from her. And it turns out that, you know, Margaret was a good girl, but she kind of got in with the wrong crowd. It ended up becoming like kind of a trucker story, just like Polly.
Yeah, kind of like Polly.
And then she kind of disappeared. Like no one really knew. Sheriff Keller tried his best, but he was like literally one person. And then she mentions that Tony, who is a social worker, was the one who kind of like helped her through it, but like couldn't do enough, I guess, to help Margaret through it. So then at least Betty has a lead to talk to someone else. So then it cuts to Cheryl and Veronica talking in the lounge. Again, Cheryl is kind of just like chilling on the couch, and Veronica's like, hey girl, I heard that you were like, you came down from your little ice tower, Princess Elsa. Yeah. And so she's like, what are your art skills like right now? And she's like, they're flawless, they're amazing. So she's like, well, can you draw something on this like piece of money? It looks like money. I'm gonna make money.
Yeah. It's like already pre-cut. The pre-cut template.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, I'll help you with that. So then it cuts to the ROTC class or course or whatever, and Jackson is getting interviewed by the students. They're asking questions about like how Archie was in the army, and then he basically talks about the fact that like Archie saved his life. You know, he lost his life, but he saved his life, and you know he'll do all these things to help. And then firefighting is mentioned, and then one of the students is like, well, can we help with the firefighting things? And then Archie's like, well, yeah. He's like, look, he's like, even my friends don't even want to help me. He's like, my students, sure, I'm down. And then I was like, but are you serious though? Like who?
Well, he did say he's like, it could maybe act as like an extra credit. Did he say that? Or he was like, we have to be 16 and like make sure your mommy like signs a paper and like whatever. So I'm not liable for your life if you die.
Your literal death if you run into a fire and die. And I was like, oh my God.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was cute because I feel like he's inspiring this next generation to like give back to the town. So like I'm all for it. Yeah.
All right. So then it cuts to the economy class, and she decides that she's going to be printing literally Monopoly money.
What did she call it? Like
river
cash?
dollars. River cash. River cash. And
she's like, we're gonna use river cash, but you can only use it at Pops or
the Bijou. And
she's like, don't go anywhere else. Don't go to like Home Depot. Don't go to like the thing.
Can't go to Winners.
You can't go there.
Yeah, so she's making this money, and I'm just like, I don't even understand like her mindset around it. But she does make a point where she talks about the fact that apparently this is something that happened in the States to like a small town, and they were running out of money, so then they printed their own money, which I think is a real story.
It must be a true story because like she referenced it like in detail. So
like in Ohio in 1644, they made their own money.
I mean, look, great idea. Like I'm all for them bringing Riverdale back. Like I'm down for whatever it takes.
Yeah. So you're like, whatever it takes, make money, fake money, whatever you need to do. Anyway, so then it cuts to Betty, and she comes home and she sees like all these like muddy footprints on the floor,
perfect muddy footsteps. I'm like,
you're like boop boop boop, like literally like perfectly put down. And she's like, mom, and her mom's like at the back door, and she's like, I found her phone. But like, I found Polly's phone.
Like she was just sitting there waiting for Betty to come home. She's just like, her phone, and she's like covered in swamp juice. I'm like
she just rolled up. Yeah, like what were you doing waiting there? And it's funny because I wrote that down and being like, what a weird moment. It really was
very
like such a
weird.
Random. And also I wrote down, didn't they already find the cell phone? Like, wasn't that the reason why they found the body and like the ringing, they heard the ringing of the phone. Like, I don't understand.
Wait.
Unless they found the body and then they freaked out.
They didn't find the phone.
They didn't like, they just left before they found the phone.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, okay, like
even still, I think it was such a weird cut to, because it was like, why wouldn't you just be sitting at home being like, Betty, I found her phone, like let's go get her.
yeah,
Like, why
or
is she
like
covered in swamp mud water, like wait, like
yeah,
shocked,
like
like
she just jump into the
like you
fucking
knew that
thing.
it was gonna be around the swamp, like it's not surprising.
Yeah, and like if she just came home, like wouldn't you have seen her like walk through the front door?
It
And
was
be
just
like,
a very
I'm
weird
here! Yeah,
there were a couple of weird scenes like that this episode
Yeah.
too, that I think that were like, I was like, that setup's kind of odd, but like
yeah,
whatever.
because she could have just texted her and been like, I
Yeah.
found Betty's phone, like come home, like we need to talk.
Yeah. Was that
Anyways.
shot in the promo? Because if it was in the promo, then I get why they would have done that. Like the
Her be
footstep
like-
part, the footstep
Oh,
part.
yeah, maybe. You're
Yeah.
probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that cuts to Tony talking to Betty, and Betty gives her like the tea on like what's going on. She's like, we found a dead body. She also asked about Margaret and like what her story was. Tony's like, yeah, she was just like one of those
Tony
girls.
is carrying this season so hard that
They're
she
giving
even
her
has
everything.
a Yelp reviews about her. Like this woman was like, have you heard of Tony Topaz? She's amazing.
one.
Like she's
Yeah.
the one that like made me feel, I was like, this girl even has reviews. Like everything's going great for her. Like life is good.
So proud of her. Yeah, and Tony's like, yeah, I'm willing to help wherever you need, like if you need me to help find stuff, because she's like, also my sister is like been missing from time, like something's happened to her. So yeah, again, going back to Tony, like she's literally like living
at this point. Do you
it.
think Polly's dead?
I don't think that they will kill her now at this point.
Okay.
I feel like it's just like the thing that we need to string along.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I've seen shows and movies where like the tragedy is like at the end of it all, like the person's still dead and you just have to like heal from it. And it would give them like a story for season 6, like healing from the death of Polly. So I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel like she's dead?
At this point, I kind of want her to be dead, to be honest.
Like, I wish she was dead.
No, because like I do feel like you're right. Like they're kind of like trailing us along.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be really shocking if like at the end of March, when this is final and we have to wait 4 more months for the next part, and we see Polly dead, I think we're all going to be shocked. We're going to be like, holy shit. And it just feels more adult. Here we are 7 years later, and there really are consequences. Okay. There really are people who actually die in this show. Whereas before, I feel like it's always these random people and then they come back to life and then like whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be a really, really good, shocking mid-season finale to be like, she's actually
dead. And now we have to like figure the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. So then anyway, it cuts to Pops talking to Tabitha and Jughead at thing. And he's like, thanks for inviting me back. Like, I've only been gone 1 episode from retirement, but like, thanks for coming back. I was like, guys, you couldn't even wait 2 seconds to bring the fucking character back to the show. Anyway, so there is a flashback that we get of him as like teen Pops, and he's
the guy looked like
at the diner.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And he talks about the fact that like he felt an electricity in the diner. It was like super, super late.
It was a vibe.
There was a vibe. The thing went off, like the gumball machine went off, like everything popped off.
Free gum.
And then like there's this like big blowout flashlight of light that they all see. They all kind of go outside and they investigate, and then the lights just disappear as they walked out. And he's like, yeah, like that's kind of what happened. We didn't really know what it was. A part of me like wanted it to come back. There was some conversation about the fact that maybe it was an FBI, the FBI kind of like doing some secret experiment.
He did say it was like a military kind of like thing, like testing or whatever. And I was like, that would make more sense.
That's the most accurate.
Yeah.
Are we going to X-Files right now? Like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I wonder if it's going to be like a Stranger Things kind of thing where like there's a building somewhere in Riverdale that they don't know, and then like they're doing testing there, and then like this shit started happening.
This is like the hybrid body of like another person or something. Yeah, like from the Upside Down. Yeah, interesting. I don't know.
I don't think it'll go as far as that. I don't think it'll go, but like maybe the idea of like there was government testing and then like things started to happen that were weird, but like obviously it wasn't
weird
anything
things. Strange
alien.
things happen in Riverdale. So another thing that he mentions is, who you should talk to Nana Blossom, because she done been there. And there's like actually a flashback shot of her as a young like Blossom.
Loved it. So cute.
Like, oh,
I just want to mention here quickly, because I don't think we'll get to it later, but I think you were saying it, and then one of our listeners mentioned last week, commented, and they mentioned that, is Nana Blossom real, or is she just a figment? of Cheryl's like kind of
crazy
like
imagination,
delusion and crazy. And I was like, yo, that is crazy. Like if that's actually true. And Cheryl's thinking that her grandma's making her do all of these things, but it's really just Cheryl making her grandma up. And she snapped. I'm like, that is sick. Like that would be so cool.
And then I was like,
because also we're like 7 years later, like Nana might have not made it. Like she was real, like she's old, you know?
Yeah.
But then you were like, no, she's in the promo. And I was like, oh.
And I think she's like literally talking to Jughead because like,
and then that scene, so that's what like that scene leads to that. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, never mind. Backtrack on that one.
Riverdale can't be that good.
Yeah. Can you imagine? So really quickly before we move forward, I wrote down like the history of Mothman, just like a really quick thing. So it is, as we mentioned, it is an actual event that happened in West Virginia. It's folklore, but still is something that people claim to have happened. The Mothman is a creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published, dated titled "Couples See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something." The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. So it's really funny on YouTube. BuzzFeed Unsolved Mysteries has this whole episode on it. So I watched it to kind of just get high level information. After. Yeah, for sure. It's reports from back then that happened in the specific forest, and then all the way up until like 2010, people have been saying that they like saw something.
Wow.
But now the more recent ones people are saying were like a hoax. Like it's all just kind of like, because now this town is like, it's all about Mothman. Like they make Mothman coffee, they make like Mothman pizzas. Like it's a part of like the tourism or whatever. But anyway,
it's like Salem and the witch, like the
witch
thing.
Very that. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so that's a little bit of story about Mothman. So it is kind of related to this, but the Mothman story is more like about a monster, whereas a lot of people are saying like this one is more like about aliens. So like I think they're like mashing up a few different storylines. So then it cuts to the El Royale and Bernardo. Let's just talk about Bernardo for 1 second, okay, guys?
I had to message J-Log and be like, who is that guy from New York City?
Is.
Why was he not in Katie Keene? I'm sorry.
He
was?
Yeah. He was.
When
he was Jorge's boyfriend. Well, ex-boyfriend. Apparently, they were dating for a little bit. I remember watching.
But we got to see him?
Yeah. We saw him.
Oh, he was the boyfriend. I didn't remember that.
I mean, I never watched all of Katie Keene, but it's funny because I think I saw a clip of Bernardo, and then I was like, "Who's this fine ass man?"
So he was dating a firefighter.
Yeah, Jorge was dating him in the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Apparently there's like an episode where like they get gay bash, like it's like a whole thing.
Oh, so I must have missed that one. I must have stopped watching right before that.
But I wrote like, so it canceled in my mind before it got canceled.
Shouldn't have canceled it.
But I just kept writing down that Jesus Bernardo is hot. And Jesus,
he really was.
He is a fine ass.
I really wish he stayed in Riverdale. I really wish Archie didn't fuck that up.
Yeah, me too. And basically he's like, I'm gonna train you children. I'm like, train me too. Okay, let's go.
How do you work out?
Let's do it, Daddy. So anyway, he's kind of like, he starts his like montage, whatever. And this is like when they're all like training, and then it's like a shot of like Veronica printing money, and it's like money, like it's like this whole montage, and then it kind of ends off with Jughead kind of picking up the money that Veronica's fucking face is on, and he's like, what is, and he literally says it, he's like, why is Veronica printing like Monopoly money with her face on it? Like, what is this situation? Yeah. And the kids, and then Tabitha has to explain like it's fake money, but you can use it at different places. By different places, she means 3 places. Like, you can literally use it at Pops.
You know Bijou. What? I don't want to hate this storyline because I'm saying, like, cheers to her, she's doing good. Cheers. I think if it started off by being like, this is a school assignment, like, let's see how this goes, like, let's see like how you can like calculate your money, and then someone was like, yo, let's actually make money, it would have made more sense. But this chick legit wanted to make her own currency.
She like literally had the printing press like ready to go. Which is funny. So anyway, so she's already printing the money. Jughead kind of calls it out. It's funny because Jughead's almost playing this character who is the audience now. Like he's not just in the story. He's also calling out the fact that like shit is so weird in Riverdale. And Anyway, then it cuts back to Vixen's practice, and Tony kind of rolls in, and she's kind of pissed because Cheryl did not tell her about the storyline. So she's like, why did you set this up without me? Like, I thought we were doing this as a team. And Cheryl goes on to say, like, the Vixens, like, blossoms are forged in fire, and we have to like keep training like twice a week. And Tony's basically like, you sound like your mom, you sound crazy, like, what is wrong with you? And then in the background, one of the girls kind of gets injured, and then she cancels practice, and she's like, Cheryl, like, what the F? Like, and then she kind of walks out with everybody else, and Cheryl's like, you're on thin ice. And I'm like, wow, fire, ice, season
Actually,
1, episode 2.
You were on thin ice in season 1, and Archie had to save your ass.
Oh, true story.
She was on literal thin ice.
Literally on thin ice. So then it cuts to the swamp, and they're looking for Polly. Like, everybody's like, Polly. I never understand that, because I'm just like, whoever is like, it's me, I'm over here.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm right over here. I'm just having a tea and coffee by the swamp.
You're like in the swamp.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're doing the search party, and then of course Hiram rolls up with his people, including Reggie, and he's like, skirt, you get off my property. I own this now. It's gonna turn into the turnpike. And then he basically kicks everybody off.
Yeah,
and
he's like, you can't be here.
It's like, totally shitty, because Alice is like, yo, like, my daughter is literally missing, and you want to kick us off, like, the place that her phone was found. Like, come on. And Hiram's like, I feel for you, because like, I have a daughter too, but get off my property. And I was like,
it was a little like, you bitch. Too much. I was
like, who would ever say that? Like, you literally, like, you're like,
unless they're hiding something like in the swamp,
Yeah, like there's oil or something. Like, who knows? Which I do want to get to, actually. We'll talk about that in a second. So then it cuts to Thornhill, and Nana talks to Jughead and Tabitha, and she basically tells essentially the same story, but she has a little bit more information. She talks about the fact that there's a Mothman ship, and they were looking for their Mothman friend. And then a few weeks later, she found a body in the maple, like the maple farms, the maple forest. And she took the body, and apparently an autopsy was performed. So like, he keeps like, as she's telling this story, he's also like, okay, like, this girl is crazy. Like, he's looking at her being like, this bitch is nuts.
I mean, if you thought she was normal, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it's Nana Rose.
Yeah, it's Nana Rose. She's like, hello, everybody. There's aliens everywhere.
How'd she get her glass eye?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was like, maybe that's connected to it. Anyway, so she goes on to say that they were looking for their missing friend, and he was like, who's they? Like, who did this autopsy? And she's like, it's the Mothman people. Like, the Mothman people were looking for this body. And she goes on to say, like, I told them that I cremated the body, but I actually kept the body in a barrel of maple syrup. So she's like, I can get it for you if you want to. And he's like, yeah, sure. Like, thanks. Bye. Yeah. Like, he still kind of leaves it being like, what a weirdo. Like, what the hell was that? Then it cuts to econ class again. And they're super excited because everything's going really well. Like, money's going, like, it's all successful. Everybody's clapping. Everyone's like super amped. And I actually learned something about economics. I was like, girl, what you talking about? So she's like, so now that everything's successful, like, what do we do next? Like, do we like start pumping more money into the economy? And they're like, yeah. And then she's like, but how much? And I was like, oh, girl, you're teaching me something.
So how much?
So she's like, should we put in $10,000 or $1,000? And everyone's like, $10,000. And she's like, no, that's wrong.
Wrong answer.
Because apparently if you flood the money with more money, then it will just like collapse.
Yeah, you're like inflating.
You're inflating. It's inflation. Yeah, basically whatever is happening in Toronto right now. Just inflating the entire economy. So then as this is happening, as she's explaining, like, no, you can't do that, Hiram comes and knocking on her door, and he's like, wow, Mija, like, you're teaching so many things about treasury and money and economy. And he even says it himself. He's like, I can't believe I didn't think about that. Like, he's like, I didn't even think about like putting, and I was actually, it's funny that he said it because I thought the same thing. I was like, after 7 years, you didn't think to like make your own currency?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, he knows it's illegal. Like, she's doing something illegal. You can't do that. You can't print your own fucking money. And so he's like, I'm just frustrated because like you're helping like Archie with this firefighting thing. Now I hear that you're printing money. Like, what's the deal? And she's like, we believe in Riverdale. So take a hike, Donnie. And then he just leaves. So
She's
again,
like, as Archie would say, take a hike.
Like,
oh yeah, what did she say? She's like, you stink. Or something. I was like,
you
all right.
Yeah. So anyway, he leaves.
But again, like super cute banter between the two of them. Like,
yeah, I'm into it. I'm okay with it. So then it cuts back to the El Royale, and they're all like talking and hanging. They're like kind of catching up on all the stories about like them, like, you know, Archie in the army. And this homeless man, Earl, comes in, and I guess Archie knows him from the fact that like he was like a retired army person as well.
Yeah.
And he lives on Skid Alley.
Skid Alley
And I actually wrote down because he looks so familiar. I was like, why does this guy look so familiar? After the rewatch, I watched it again. I looked it up and I was right. It's the uninvited from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes, so, I saw a picture of that like as like on our timeline, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I was like, why does he look so familiar? I'm like, they made him homeless twice. They literally
just the same actor. Like he's not that guy.
Yeah. But essentially he's like the same role. Like he's also a homeless person in Riverdale. Like you guys could have cast him for a home. He's like, I just want to be invited. Yeah. So essentially, yeah, he has this little quick moment because that's the thing. I was like, what was relevant to that him like even talking at that point?
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I hope you can fix our busted ass town. Goodbye. Like he just like leaves. Like that was his purpose of the conversation.
With his squeaky like
he's like
dude, the sound effect person was like living this episode.
Yeah, he's like,
like
volume
they were like
75. Yeah, he was like ready to go. So then it cuts to Betty calling Glenn because she's like, yo, I need backup. Like shit's going down in my city. Like you need to come and help me. And he's like, you know what? Like it's only one murderer, so like I really don't think I can help you. Like sorry about it. Which I thought was kind of tight. And like it involves her missing.
He's 100%
sister.
the murderer. He's 100% the murderer. Like it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
We know it's him.
Because like he's being like, sorry, you can't come. You know, he's already there killing everyone.
Yeah. He's like, by the way, TBK, aka I am
staying at the
back.
5 seasons. Yeah.
I am killing people.
Yeah.
And so he's like, there's 2 victims already. And when he mentions that the TBK is back, she has like a total freak out moment. Like the camera like closes in on her and she's like, she can't even hold her phone anymore because she's having PTSD. And then she's like, don't worry about it. I'll deal with this. Like you deal with the TBK, catch the motherfucker. And then she hangs up and then she kind of has like a flashback of like when she was captured in the hole. And she's like, oh. So anyway, she's dealing with it. So then it cuts to Betty at nighttime and she's back at the swamp and, Reggie obviously like hears her. He's like, what are you doing here, girl? And she's like, my sister's literally missing. My mom's going insane. Like you can't stop me.
I need
like,
to
shoot
like
me
look for her. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to find her. And he's like, okay, fine. Like I have something that I need to tell you, but like you have to do like a cone of silence with me. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So then he tells her that he found another body in the swamp. So it's like, dun dun dun. Who is it now? And then it cuts to Archie at firefighting practice. I don't even know what else to call it. They're all like just practicing, whatever. And Bernardo's there looking sexy. And there's an explosion that happens outside, or like one of the homeless guys come out.
They come in,
They're like, there's a fire in the alleyway. And
we need the new fire department.
We need like the 2 of you that know how to use a hose.
Yeah, he's like, grab the hose.
So then he runs outside and it's literally like right beside them. Like it's like on, like, it's like the neighborhood. And it's on fire.
It like blows up.
It like explodes, like the windows pop off, and the guy who called them out, he's like, Earl's in there, like my friend's in there, like can you save him? And Archie, of course, kicks the door. I wanted to strangle this,
and like everyone's literally saying like, Archie, no,
don't do it.
He's like,
he's like, you talking to me? Bro, what are you doing? Fucking jumping into a fire. What's wrong with you? And it's funny because they had time to stop him. Like he had to kick the door fully, 3 times.
Yeah, and they were like,
like no. It's like, bro, you let that happen too. So anyway, he runs into the fire like he's freaking
like no mask, nothing, like
nothing. He would have been dead in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
okay,
easily.
Just as a PSA, which they should have done at the end of this episode, do not ever do anything
run into a burning
that Archie
building.
ever does. Like,
yeah, or that.
Yeah, just don't follow anything that he does, because you will die. Like, it's not as easy as that. So then it cuts to Hiram talking to Veronica because she's like counting her money and it's not adding up. So she's like, this bitch. So she calls him up and she's like, yo, like, are you printing money? Like, where did you get that money that you showed me when you came to my classroom? And he's like, me? I didn't do nothing. And he obviously is saying that, like, you know, the treasury office is going to come for you, like all these other things. So it's not like a sustainable like model anyways.
Yeah.
But he does deny the fact that he did it.
It wasn't him.
Even though she's like, no.
She's like, I do my calculations and I never make a mistake in addition. And there's a mistake in the additions.
Math is right. It's on point.
You don't get the name She-Wolf by mixing up math things.
Yeah, it's 2021. Like, girl, sit down. You don't even know the year. So then it cuts to...
Oh, it's so funny.
It cuts to the coroner's office, and it turns out that it is, in fact, the new body is actually Margaret. And Curdle says her body was pulverized like it was hit by a wrecking ball.
Wrecking ball!
I know. I was like,
Miley?
Yeah, Miley's
gonna be in the season?
She's the one that she's the TBK. Miley's the TBK. We figured it out, guys. No, so what I was thinking about was like, are people like hitting them with trucks? Like, was she hit by a truck? And like,
yeah, and it could be because
like that's a wrecking ball to me. Like, that's the closest thing to her. Like, no one's gonna hit her with a wrecking ball, or unless she was. Anyway, that was the first thing that came to my mind when I thought like she was like, her body was like smashed, because she was like, oh my god. So then it cuts to Cheryl and Tony, and they have a moment in the gymnasium because she canceled practice. Tony cancels practice, and she's like, we need to talk. Like, what's going on with you? And she kind of just lays it all out. And she's like, you know what? I was okay with it for 5 seconds, but you're privileged. You're selfish. Like, you don't even know what your life has been like this entire time. There are people out here that are like putting in the work, and you're just like out here. And she just kind of kicks back and is like, well, I have the money, and like, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm selfish and I'm giving you money? And she was like, it's not just about the money. It's like, you need to be on the floor with us. Like, we're working, we're doing things. And I was like, good point. Like, very good point.
No,
like,
it was a very well written scene
moment. Yeah.
And they hit all the right points that they should have hit. Like, everything felt very authentic, and like it would be that conversation that these two people would be having with each other. And
absolutely,
again, Tony is carrying the whole season. Every scene that they give her is so well written for her character.
Yeah, for sure. So she kind of storms off on Cheryl, because even though Tony kind of like shuts her down, and Cheryl even says like, your cruelty is beyond words. I was like, what are you angry about?
Like, what's the
like,
problem
sit
here?
down, girl. And then Tony just leaves because she's just like, fuck you. Like, you don't even understand. But clearly Cheryl is also, I mean, we obviously know that this is just like leading up to angry sex. Like, we'll get it at some point in time. Like,
when she's not pregnant.
The build up. Yeah, when she's not pregnant anymore. So anyway, it cuts to Cheryl coming home after this whole altercation with Tony, and she's like, Nana, I just need to talk to you about something, because I'm like heartbroken now. But it's Miss Marble. She back again. So she shows up, and in the background it shows the two paintings beside each other. And she was like, you know, it was really funny. Like, I took this one home and I realized that it was a forgery, and I thought that I'd come talk to you about it before I called the police on your ass. So, so we don't go back to this moment. So I'd like to ask you now, like, what do you think is going to be the next step?
It's funny because I had a question for you too, and it was exactly this. I don't know, like, what happens now? Like, is she gonna go to jail? Is Marble gonna like blackmail her? Probably that's what's gonna happen.
Right.
Is Marble gonna be a love like story?
Interest,
yeah. I kind of feel like it might be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you wouldn't introduce her as a character if it wasn't like more than
sure.
just
and cast her like at their age too, you know?
Exactly. So I feel like that's a really good point. Yeah, good point. And not like not a guy.
It's not like an older lady or like a guy.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I think that that's going to be the case, and I also think that maybe Miss Marble is going to be in on this like scam that she's running.
Sure.
So I think she's going to be like, "Yo, let's keep doing this. I'm the one that's curating. You're the one that's making the paint,
like selling your stuff.
It's a perfect like partnership. So maybe that will be the thing. Maybe they start falling in love with each other.
And then Tony's going to get jealous.
And then Tony's going to get jealous, and then she's going to have the baby, and then they're going to have sex. Like, CHONI is coming. Don't worry, guys.
CHONI's coming literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
I mean, just literally both ways.
Just literally always. But Miss Marble is kind of on the burner right now. So we'll see how that kind of plays out next episode. So then it cuts to Archie in the hospital. Thank God this guy did not die, but he almost died.
Hospital bills.
Like he's so nice level.
I guess he's insured now because he's like an army vet.
True. So he's like, yeah. So basically he pulled Earl out. And he's like in the hospital as well. Yeah. And Jackson is there with Tom. And it was really funny because he's getting caught up on Hiram Lodge. And he was like, who's this Hiram guy? Like, tell me more about this fucking crazy guy. And he's like, it's just Riverdale. Like, they're both just like, you don't get it. It's Riverdale.
Like, watch our show.
This place is crazy. Where have you been for the past 5 seasons? And Jackson just gets more and more pissed off because he basically says, and he makes a really good point. He's like, what the hell are we fighting for over there if this is what happens to us when we come back? Because he was like, Earl was also like an army vet. He's like, why is this happening?
Very real conversations. Very real. I appreciated them all, respect them all. And he was like, again, another millionaire is making money off of us, like coming into a small town and like taking advantage. So it's very true to like what's going on in the world today. And I kind of like his character. I feel like he's in some ways he's like the opposite of Archie.
Right.
But like they find a great middle ground that like sparks really good conversation in a way.
For sure. And I mean, they both went through similar trauma. Yeah. So like, we'll get to that point, but like the fact that they share that is really important. Yeah. So then it cuts to Hiram and Reggie, and Hiram's basically pissed that this body was like mysteriously found on his grounds. Cause obviously he thinks that he's the one that did it. And he says something really interesting that I want to talk about, where he says the turnpike, just like the rest of Sodale, is a necessary smoke screen. Yeah. And that's when Reggie cuts him off. And then he ends off, like, Reggie goes on to say, like, why don't you just like take this as a moment to be a hero? And he says, we both know that's not the real end game, like turning this thing into a highway. So then Hiram goes, okay, fine. I'll like, let them do whatever they need to do. So quick pause. Cause like those were things that I only noticed the second time watching it.
You're right.
I didn't even notice. It was very, very subtle. What is this smoke screen? I don't know. What is his end game if it isn't to build Sodale? Cause we're out here thinking that Hiram's like new goal for this new season is that, but now it sounds like it. Like,
yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to think about things before we did the podcast, and I don't know what it could be.
No idea. I was like, what could it be? I'm not really sure. Like, is he like, the one thing that I was thinking and hoping obviously was, is it something that is going to like
be a positive?
Like, yes, he's like, I'm making it sound bad, but like, I'm going to fix Riverdale at the very end of it all. But I'm just like, but why are you keeping it secret? Like, it doesn't really make sense as to why it would be like why he's going through all this trouble. Yeah. That being said, again, I'll talk about this, maybe not, but since we're talking about it, like now that Reggie apparently is aware of what his big plan is, like clearly it can't be that evil. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but here's the thing. You're right. It can't be that evil, maybe, but they're doing a lot of evil things along the way. That just doesn't make sense. Like, why are you burning his house down? Like, we're almost going to kill Archie. Like, why did you have to do that in your path to do something greater for the world?
Yeah, I always worry with how far they take Hiram in terms of like how evil he can get. And I'm just like, it doesn't really make sense that he would be going to these great lengths if like doing Sodale and doing this like turnpike is not the end goal. Like, is he out here just going to be the president of the United States? And ultimately you are draining
Riverdale. Like, you are killing Riverdale. So like, how are you going to get it back? You're not.
Or maybe there is like a larger evil that he's planning to do, but like, what is it? Like, what do we know?
I don't know. Anyways. If you guys know, put it in the comments below. Let us know
what your theories are, for sure.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Margaret's mom, Tony, and Betty, and they're talking in the FBI office, and she basically is like, yeah, your daughter is officially dead. Like, we found her body. R.I.P. Margaret, with the braces. And she's like, yeah, but like, who hurt her? Like, what was the storyline? And Betty's like, we don't really know. Like, my sister's out there too. Like, don't worry, we'll find them. Like, we'll find whoever did this to her. Like, we'll do it. And Margaret's mom is basically like, at least like I know she's like gone now. Like, I can like,
yeah, it was really sad.
Closure. It was sad.
And even like Tony was crying. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things where, especially with the storyline, it seems like they're making it a lot bigger and deeper in terms of like, people are not just dying in this town, and like they're really bringing a lot of these storylines back to like either real world situations. Like later on they talk about human trafficking. Like,
yeah,
it's very interesting how they're like wrapping a lot of these. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than just Riverdale.
Yeah,
which I enjoy. I like the fact that they're like making it topical and
like
relevant.
Last season we would have gotten this murder, we wouldn't have seen the mom. Like, we wouldn't have ever heard about it again. But to see the mom, to be like, I'm getting closure, fine. Like, it was a big scene to have.
And that's a story. So, like, that is a story for a lot of parents who like don't know where their kids went, and then they find out like they're dead like 10 years later. Like, it's crazy what happens in the world.
Yeah.
This world is crazy, guys. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Jughead sees this barrel of maple syrup. The Nana decides to like fucking U-Haul there. Like, I don't even know how the fuck she got it there, but she like Ubered it over. And Tabitha's like, yep, there's a barrel of fucking maple syrup for you from Nana Rose. So then it's commercial break, and then it cuts to the next scene of them kind of examining something. We don't see it until the very end. Like, they angled the camera so like we're only looking at Tabitha and Jughead, and they're like, oh my God, it smells in here. Like, and Jughead basically says that he's going to look for a specialist who's going to look for, like investigate this thing that they found, because Tabitha's like, it could be fake, like it could be like sewed up body parts, like we don't even really know like what it is. And then we finally see the shot of all shots. It looks like a tiny dead alien baby. Like, it looks like an alien. Like, what did you think of that? This like reveal of an actual extraterrestrial. Like, is it real? Is it fake? Like, what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like we know what you guys think. I mean, it went at a little bit X-Files for me. Like, it definitely like it started to go into that route. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. I do love X-Files. Like, I loved the series, and I like the way that they kind of slowly moved into something that was mysterious, but didn't like always show you like aliens running around. You know what I mean? So I feel like Riverdale, if they do it right, it might not be that crazy. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So then it cuts to Veronica in class, and she ends up telling them, like, counterfeit money has entered the system, so we have to shut it down. Like, I feel like my dad might have done it. And as like they're talking about it, like the kids look really bummed and like kind of stressed out. And she notices some kid like kind of tapping his hands in the back corner, and he has like these inky fingers that she notices. And she's like, where'd you get those inky fingers from? Like, don't tell me you got it from art class. And he basically admits that he printed $10,000 instead of the $1,000 that they all agreed on. And she's like, great, it triggered an economic collapse. Thanks, guys. It's all your fault. And I'm like, well, that's your fault for fucking.
You left it in the hands of children, literally.
Kids. Like, what did you expect to happen? They want money. So she's like, now you're gonna have to work off your debt for a much needed service. I'm like, so this bitch,
she set them up.
She set these bitches up. She knew they were gonna fucking fail, and now she's getting them to do free work for her. I'm like,
child labor over here.
Child labor. That is a loophole. So anyway, we'll talk about what she ends up doing with them. It cuts to Archie, and he gets home, and just as he's getting home, Jackson is like ready to leave. He has his like rifle in hand. He's like ready to pop off, literally. And he says, I read up a little bit about Hiram. Someone needs to teach this guy a lesson. Like, he's about to like literally shoot him dead, essentially. And Archie's like, I'm not going to let you waste your life like this. Like, don't be crazy. And they have this moment where he basically is like, I feel lost. I'm pissed. I didn't get the housing that I was going to get. Like, I just feel like I don't have a place in society. And Archie kind of comes back and says, I'm the same way. Like, my friends don't really know my story. They don't deal with the same traumas that I've dealt with. Where I'm lost too. That's why I want to put all my like heart into
changing and saving the town.
Fixing the town.
Loved it.
I loved it. It was such a good moment. And he's like, what are we going to do? And he was like, why don't you like stay in town? You can become the new commander of the firefighting brigade or whatever. And we can help each other stay sane. I love this moment.
Loved it.
It was great. It was
very powerful.
Very
like,
powerful.
Yeah, loved it.
For sure. Then it cuts to Pop's diner and Jugs be drinking and writing, and it's 2:00 in the morning, and we get it, girl. Then suddenly out of nowhere, the whole place starts to shake, and then it's kind of the recreation of what Pops was talking about, which is like the lights on outside, everywhere. The music box goes off, like the free gumballs for everybody again. And he sees the light kind of shine through the window, and then he goes outside. And this time, though, what happens is what we didn't see happen with Pops is he looks up and there's like this like specific spotlight that kind of hits him. That's when it cuts to commercial.
It's like an alien spaceship.
Alien spaceship or like military. It's military, guys. Come on. So then it cuts to the next scene where he's talking to Tabitha, and he was like, it was so weird what happened yesterday. I woke up in the booth and it was like 4 hours later. Like, I don't even know what happened. Like, I lost time. And she was like, well, were you drinking? Like, maybe you like just like hallucinated. Maybe you were just like so excited about what happened with like my grandpa. She doesn't believe him. And then he was like, but wait, there's more. So then he takes her to the back where they left the alien body, which I was like, you shouldn't have done that. Did you at least take pictures? You fucking idiot.
Never. No one ever thinks to take pictures of aliens.
Which I don't understand, because of all no one ever does that. Like, take out your phone. Like, even when it was getting
proof.
Yeah, even when it was happening, I was like, I know it was scary for you, but couldn't you like whipped your phone out and been like, yo, this shit is crazy, y'all? Like, fuck. So anyway, the body's gone. It's missing. And then Tabitha's like, this be crazy though. What's happening over this kid?
She's like,
yeah, let's have sex on this body right now. Pour out that maple syrup on me. So it cuts to Veronica with her students cleaning up Skid Row, which I thought was nice. Like, it shows this moment.
Great activity.
There was this moment where like one of the students like give Veronica like a look for like a little bit longer than I was like, they're not gonna do some like student teacher moment, right? Like, did you notice that? Like, one of the students like see her walk away and he's like,
that's my teacher.
Yeah, I was like,
oh my God, can you imagine? No.
We already got like fucking grungy.
We did the grunts.
We're done with that.
Yeah, been there, done that.
So then it cuts back to the El Royale, and it turns out that Principal Weatherby canceled the ROTC partnership with this firefighting thing. Children's program, essentially, because Archie decided to fucking jump into a fire. And then Bernardo and then Bernardo's like, peace.
He's like, this guy's too dumb for me. I gotta go.
He's like, I literally spent 24 hours telling you guys not to do what he just did,
and then he just
did it. Like, fucking idiot. And then Kevin kind of goes on to say, like, yeah, we heard about this, but we're happy to join. Him and Fangs are happy to join if you still need a hand. And then Archie's like, well, Bernardo's gone because he broke up with me, and he's in New York now. And then this is when the chief comes in. He was like, I'm here, I'll help you guys train. And I was like, can someone bring back Bernardo? Like, you don't need this old chief man. No offense to the old chief man, but like, Bernardo was.
And then the guy's like, all we need is a new truck.
That it was like beep beep honk honk. Yeah.
Like, where'd the car even come from? Like, through the wall?
Rolls up. Yeah. So Veronica rolls in with the fucking new fire truck, and I was like, for a new fire truck, it looks pretty fucking old to me. Like, it was like the old school like style. Like, it doesn't even have a hose. It was so cute though. I thought it was so cute. A hose. It was really cute. She's like, Archie Haynes, obviously going a fire truck. Right. So let's talk about this. So she says she wanted to help. She wanted to do her civic duty. And he was like, how are we going to pay for this? He was like, well,
at this point, she has so much money. Why can't she just buy back the town?
Basically, like, she's out here acting as if she got no money. She's got to make her own fucking money. River dollars. She bought it with River dollars, apparently. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening over here. Inflating the economy left, right, and center. So she's like, you can pay us back because we'll be making firefighters of Riverdale
calendar. And I was like, Bernardo better be month of May. birthday. That's my birthday.
That's your birthday. And August. Yeah. I was also like, they should make these things that we can purchase as fans, because I would buy that. Like,
we should Photoshop them and do it.
We should do it perfect. We should. Would you guys be down for that? And she ends off saying she just wanted to help and anything for you, Archie. So just before we move on to the final,
and he was like smiling at her, and she was like smiling at him, and like
right. So yeah, I guess we have to talk about this because
you're like, I was like,
I guess we have to talk about it. So VARCHIE, we have a little VARCHIE moment. Do you think this is
a
VARCHIE moment? Do we care right now, this episode?
Yeah, I don't really care, but whether or not it is, whatever. I think, like I was saying before, it was again a very comic book, like these are the characters that we see in the comic book. So I don't think it's going to be VARCHIE. Now that's it. BARCHIE's done. But I thought it was super cute. Like even someone who is a BARCHIE fan, I can still think that was a cute moment between these two people who like, she still wants to help him out in like his endeavor. And he's like, cool, thank you. Like,
yeah.
I thought it was super cute.
I thought it was, and that's the thing. I think it's like this time jump is giving us the opportunity to see these characters as adults. And it's not just these high school ships and like Archiekins, love ya. Like it's very,
having said that, like, yeah, the husband's gonna come. What's he gonna say?
What's he gonna pop off?
She just bought a fire truck. She didn't get it approved on the visa.
She's Riverdale. That's why she's Riverdale and a River credit card. Riverdale credit card max.
What happened to the American Excess card?
Yeah, we'll see how that kind of pans out, because for sure that's not going to go over well. Then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and this is the final scene that we get. Betty, Tony, Sheriff Keller, and Alice are sitting around the table, and after cross-referencing kind of Sheriff Keller's missing people, missing women, and then also Tony, like what she knows about it, she says that altogether there's like 21 girls missing. And Tony goes on to say, like, is it human trafficking? And then the final scene or the final words are Betty looking at everybody being like, or is it a serial killer? And then all of their faces, I swear to God, like I wrote it down because I'm like, literally all their faces are like, not again.
Yeah, like, no, let it be human trafficking.
Like, why do we need a serial killer right now again?
And she was like,
She's like, you know why?
TVK.
Because it's Riverdale. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the episode ends.
That's it.
Yeah, crazy stories. Going back to what we were saying, a few questions that I wrote down. Number one is, can this show please pick one lane? And I wrote down, it's not even about the alien storyline to me, because I did put in brackets, look at the world we're living in right now. It's highly possible at this point that we're, as human beings in 2021, gonna fucking have alien experiences. If you guys have been watching the news, there's been like alien sightings, like people have been talking about aliens. You know, it's funny because I feel like Riverdale had that moment with the pandemic in their show, and then this happened. Riverdale might be like the soothsayer, the fucking Nosferatu of television shows. Yeah. Like, we might be like, they were talking about aliens. How stupid was that? And like, literally, it's going to happen to us in like a year from now. So who fucking knows at this point? But I will say that I want them to keep their focus. I feel like there's a lot happening right now. And I just like, I know that this is usually how the seasons start, but like, I don't know how you feel. I know we talked about it at the beginning of this episode, but like, it's a lot.
Honestly, yeah, I think it's a lot, but honestly, like I'm not hating it. Yeah. I'm really okay with where they are. I think the writing is very strong, whether or not like some of these storylines, everyone's saying it's too much. I still think the writing is really strong, and I'm here for it. I really am. Guys, there's only like 2 episodes left, and we have to wait 4 months. So
4 months, yeah.
So just remember that when you're sitting there hating on the show,
when you
at
out here
least you got
judging,
2 episodes. Yeah,
that's the tea.
Let's try to make the most of like what happens in the next 2 weeks.
Very good point. So actually, I think we have 3 more episodes. We have the 17th, 24th, and 31st. Anyway, whatever.
Oh, okay. But that's even better.
Yeah. So a couple comments from our listeners. The first one from @RuthieAnn33 saying, lots to say. While lots of things happen that I loved and hate, really don't know if I like the Mothman alien storyline. It's like they weren't sure that Jughead's storyline was going to be, so they made something up after having too much vodka one night. Very funny. Then @25 on it says, Archie's storyline is the worst. The main character has the most boring storyline again anyways. Thanks for your comments. Let's get
Yeah, we had a bit more on Twitter, but again, a lot of you guys were agreeing and saying that like it's a lot of like crazy storylines, whatever. But guys, we are the toughest critics, and we're still not giving up. And I'm okay with it. Let's just see what happens.
Enjoy Riverdale. Let's just let's try. I know aliens are involved, but like I said, welcome to 2021, y'all. This is the world we're living in right now. Let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment is gonna go right to the dance off. That moment, I think it was the most exciting part of the episode, and I was just kind of like laughing, and the editing and the sound effects and all of that. It was a good time.
Yeah. My best moment is every single one that has Bernardo in it. He was just like such good eye candy. He's just like a big chunk of man. I loved it.
Many man.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
WTF moment. I agree with yours. But also, the Jughead abduction part. I was like, I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah, I was like, is he gonna get abducted? We're gonna see like an alien thing now,
or is it like in a Men in Black situation? Like he got like tranquilized.
Oh my god, I saw someone's tweet. It was like, what's gonna happen now? Like Jughead's gonna get impregnated with an alien baby, and he's gonna have an alien like my Sims did in Sims 4.
You guys are so crazy.
I was dying. I'm like, who thinks of that?
Oh my gosh. Well, that doesn't. My WTF moment is not as funny as that, but yeah, mine is Alice covered in dirt. Like, just like what a weird ass moment. I was like, what why? Like, why are you doing this? Why did she had one line. She's like, I found her phone. And like, it cut to the next scene. Like, it was like, so even random. If
she said like, Betty, I had no time. I had to go get her phone. Like, okay, but she's like, her phone.
Cut at the end. Like, is it working? Is it charged? Like, did you try to like turn it on? Like, did you check the messages? Like, what did you do with this phone? And like, it was just a random scene. And like, we always think about these things because they think like you and me and be like, we know like the production side of things. Like, people had to set this up. Like,
they put the fake footprints.
They light it up. Like, you're doing all this. You covered her in trash. Like, she probably spent like hours in makeup just to put that shit on her.
And like, that's what I mean. Maybe it was because it was in the promo. Like, I don't remember if it was, but even if it was probably just a single frame, and they did it for that reason.
It's so extra, you guys. It's so extra.
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
MVP is gonna be the new daddy of Riverdale, Bernardo. Except he's now gone.
But
definitely MVP because like he came out of nowhere and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. But I'm also gonna say CHONI. And I just love, and like you said it too, like that scene where she says there are people out here every single day putting in real work to Cheryl. And I'm not going to let you take over the Vixens over reasons of vanity and revenge. You're going to have to take a good hard look in the mirror and get it together first. And it was such a like MVP. What a sick, whoever wrote that thing for her, like good job. Like that's what I mean. Like also CHONI MVP, but her lines are really good too. So all around.
And that's MVP. The thing. It's such a great thing to say because to your point, like, it is all about like what Cheryl has to deal with. You can't just throw money at and like say that like, that's a solution, you know? So like it just shows that like Cheryl has a lot more work to do, and this isn't going to be an easy road for CHONI to get back together.
Like, get your shit together and then come back here because I've been putting in the work.
Yeah, exactly.
How shitty would it have been if like Tony just said, okay, come, like we missed you, come back. No, like hold her accountable for all the years that she's missed, you know?
100%.
And I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good. My MVP is gonna go to Reggie, and hear me out. I feel like he turned the corner this episode.
Like a little,
like the tiniest
sliver.
turnpike. Yeah, like a little skirt. I mean, I will just give it to him for like calming Hiram down and like helping Betty out and telling her about the body. Like, I feel like, you know, we were really annoyed by how we were introduced to Reggie at the beginning of this time jump, but I feel like I'm happy to see him kind of like become more of a normal person. And I'm really interested to see what the storyline that he's hiding with Hiram. Like, what is it? Like, what is he actually hiding?
Yeah. Also, he looked really good in a turtleneck. He looked really good.
Oh, take that and a gun.
Don't think I forgot about Charles Melton. Don't think I forgot about you.
And sleeping on you. You were first sleeping on you.
LVP.
Who's LVP? Who's your LVP?
LVP. Okay, I'm gonna give it to Veronica, and just hear me out. Okay.
You don't have time to have to. I understand completely.
The fact that you thought your students, who are literally in Econ 101, like the first level of Econ, they're not even in like the second like course of Econ,
or like 01, because you don't even get 101 until university.
Let them make their own money. I thought they were gonna be like actually like proper and like boost the economy. I just, I'm poking fun at her. She's still trying. She's wearing those power suits. I'm here for it. I still don't get why she wants to make a jewelry store in a broadcast town. I still don't get that plan. And I know that some of you guys were like, no, but the store is like halfway between like there and Sodale. I'm like, okay, but Sodale's not open yet, and Riverdale is broke. So why don't you build like a thrift store or like a charity place instead of like a high-end jewelry store?
It doesn't make sense. And then at the same time, like to your point, like she ends it off by like telling everybody to do community service for the homeless people. So I'm just like, maybe stay in that lane. Like maybe
I love how like she did say she sold the Glamourget egg for like 50 G's.
50 G's, yeah.
And then at one point in the class, she's like, I know you guys don't have any baby Glamourget eggs, but like if you did, like I'm like, okay, that's so like 1% of you. Like calm down.
I don't.
Like no one's gonna. They're freaking kids.
Yeah.
Anyways, LVP.
My LVP is gonna go to Cheryl for being so difficult this episode. Like we already talked about it. I just feel like she's kind of gonna hit her edge. I'm worried now because now that Miss Marble's in the storyline, how distracted she's gonna get before it goes back to her like doing this self-reflection and figuring her own shit out.
That's a very good point.
I'm into this Miss Marble thing, but like, does that derail the fact that she's not gonna have any personal development? When are we going to see Tony like get back together with her? I know the season's still early, but yeah, I'm kind of a little worried about that. But Cheryl's just not it right now. Not into it.
The best line.
What was your best line?
Best line? Of course we have the same one. Like of course I'm like, that's so funny that we had the same. But I'll choose two different ones, and the first one is between Hiram and Veronica, because I loved all their scenes like this week. And he was like, are you accusing me of counterfeiting your counterfeit money?
Yeah.
Like it was so cute.
Yeah.
Love that. And then it was from Eric when he's with Archie, and he's like, what the hell are we fighting for over there if this is what happens to us when we come home? And I was like, whoa, that is deep,
heavy.
Damn, that was really, really powerful.
And it's really funny that you mentioned that this is your favorite, because originally mine was the one from Cheryl, where she's like, the bitch is back in town. And I was like, that's so typical. Let me do a different
I thought you were going to choose that.
Yeah. Sure. So I switched it because when I rewatched it, I was like, this made me actually LOL in the first like 5 seconds of the episode.
Yeah.
Where Jughead is talking to Archie when he finds the picture, and he goes, oh geez, I know where this is going, and like basically shows the entire crazy storyline that he goes
it's like the show calling itself out for its ridiculousness, and I always love that.
And I think I love the fact, like I said, I think that Jughead specifically is getting these moments where he's the one that's calling this shit out. Like he called out Veronica and her Monopoly money, he called out Archie. Like I think it's been happening quite a few times, so it's really interesting to see his character like have this like level of like aware sarcasm.
Yeah.
Let's get into our listener roundup.
Let's do it.
You got so many of them. Thank you, guys. At Postmaster Radio says best moment, Pop's flashback scene. Yeah, we got a little young Pops to see.
Yeah, that was so cool.
WTF moment, Jughead's abduction. MVP, Archie, Tony, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, and Nana Rose. So like half the cast that we saw today. Thank you. LVP, Veronica's business students, and Hiram. And best line, when Veronica told Cheryl, I heard that Queen Elsa had come down from the mountain. Let it go.
Let it go.
All right, go ahead.
At Ruthie Ann 33, best moment, Reggie and Betty's scene. I like that he was willing to help out a bit. Made me smile. Very true. WTF moment, this Mothman alien light weird electric crap. Seriously, we were going good with normal town drama, with some relationship drama here. Come this shit, I am over it. And the dance off, it had me LMAO, not a grown-up move, Cheryl cringy.
Ooh.
Very opinionated there. I like that. MVP, Archie. Really, this guy's, I tell you, he has my heart. Tony for the tough love speech she gave Cheryl, and Betty for being a boss. FBI, find them girls, Betty. Like, so true. Agree.
Get them girls.
Agree. LVP, Hiram, something is seriously wrong. A girl is missing and you're being heartless. Bringing guns, like, what the F? There got to be something to his story. Best line, Jughead, no mano y mano with Hiram. And money alone isn't going to solve the problems of this town. Tony to Cheryl.
Oh, yeah. Double best lines. We have at Mackenzie Burns saying best moment, CHONI Vixen practice, WTF moment, alien skeleton at Pops. The reveal was kind of crazy. MVP, Fred Andrews, fire extinguisher stash. LVP, Glenn. Oh, Glenn for
the
being
guy.
Useless. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to be the killer.
The TBK, you mean? LVP, the TBK. And best line, Miha, has the Treasury Department shown up to arrest you yet? Are you accusing me of counterfeiting your counterfeit money?
Loved it. At CHONI 5 on it. Best moment, CHONI dance off. MVP, Tony being there to help everyone and her telling Cheryl about herself. Also the wardrobe department for Cheryl's outfits. LVP, the writers, really an alien storyline. Best line, Tony was a godsend.
Thank you, Tony. Tony is a godsend. Thank you,
Tony,
for saving Riverdale.
Oh, yeah.
She saved the world.
She saved the show. She saved us.
Yeah. Really quickly, Cheryl's outfit, one of them looked like a Sailor Moon outfit. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I loved it. I was living.
Which one was that?
It was when she was like in practice and like it's got like a little heart. She was wearing like a little skirt. Like it was cute. Anyway, so it's funny that she mentioned Cheryl's outfits. At AV Baby, I want to say it's 8AB. I feel like it's Baby. Best moment was Archie helping Eric and seeing young Pop Tate. WTF moment, the entire Mothman plot. I can't even.
Chianti.
MVP, Archie, Veronica, super clutch, especially to Archie. Reggie for telling Betty about the body. So again, 3 out of 7 of the cast members of this episode. LVP, Hiram, Glenn for showing up to state what we've been knew already. Thank you.
At Backs Archie, best moment, Archie and Jackson scene. This acting was great. Agreed. WTF moment, the scene at Pops with Jughead towards the end. MVP, Tony and Betty. LVP, Hiram. Yes.
And Dazit Micah says, best moment, the Archie Eric scene towards the end. A WTF moment, the whole alien storyline. MVP, Betty, Tony, Archie, Tabitha, the ladies of Riverdale. Shout out. And LVP, Hiram and Veronica's econ students. Best line, you suck. Veronica to Hiram. And that is our roundups. We always appreciate your roundups. Y'all are the best. I love that you guys play along with us.
Love it. The commentary is on fire.
Yeah, for sure. I know that MB is always like on that and she's like on fire with you guys, like watching it live. So I apprieate that you guys interact with us.
J-Lag's writing notes.
Yeah. I'm like,
panically writing notes. I'm on Twitter being like, we're having fun. But honestly, like, we appreciate your guys' commentary. Always. And like so many times, like I read what you guys say to us and I'm like, that's so true. Like, and then by the time we record the podcast, I'm like, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. No, it's really, really good that we get these conversations with you guys. So thank you. I would like to take this time to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder squad, White, Nicole, our Lit Rewinders, Tina, Ann, Soleil, and Kate, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamla, and Grace. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. We're trying to get this Q&A session with J-Lag and I together. We're going to have like a live stream session. So send us your questions. It could be about anything you want,
personal,
and we'll answer your questions just like this. It'll be like a live stream, but to be a part of that, you got to be a part of our Patreon family. So sign up and then we'll send out a date very soon. We're gonna have a lot of content once Riverdale is done in like 3 weeks, I guess. When we have that 4-month hiatus, we're gonna push out a lot of content to kind of
got some plans
entertained in the meantime. So be sure to stick around for that.
And also make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, and don't forget to review and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks again for listening to us. Bye-bye.
Bye.